Good afternoon. It's great to see some familiar faces from Friday. Really enjoyed the discussion at the CU School of Business. And, you know, the one thing that has become very, very evident, ironic that this panel is called The Smoke Clears, it's clearing much faster than we anticipated, because in 2014, about 45% of a $700 million industry was represented by the sale of an infused product. This is a product that you either ingest, apply, or consume through a vaping device. And so literally, I believe in 2015, which will be tickling close to about $1 billion industry, you're going to probably see that point of inflection where more infused products, which is the overarching category, including edibles, which is what my company, my manufacturing business is all about, is going to surpass that of consumption of flower, right? Which you would traditionally smoke in a marijuana cigarette or a water bong or even a volcano. And so I think that's very, very interesting, certainly positions manufacturers like myself. But you know, the one thing that we've learned over the last 3 years in particular, so dating back to 2013, which was medical use only, serving that patient, which was about $350 million in revenue. These numbers can be attributed back to the Department of Revenue. 2014, we did about $700 million as an industry. Again, this is just the state of Colorado. Again, about 55% adult use, 45% medical marijuana. You're going to see that point of inflection, right? You're going to see a massive change, in my opinion, because the adult use consumer has just a much larger appetite and is acquiring, in particular, infused products at a much faster pace than that of the medical marijuana patient. When we were delivering cannabis for medical purposes in 2013, there really was no limitation as to the amount, the dose that we could provide to a medical marijuana patient, generally those individuals that were 21 years or older that had a medical marijuana registry. Probably wasn't any irony that about 70% of those consumers, if you will, used chronic pain as the the qualifying condition. So that was pretty broad and wide. But in 2014, certainly we as a manufacturer, in part leading the way, really introduced the adult use consumer to cannabis in a very formal way, really trying to drive that adult use consumer to a much lower dose. Whether it be National Cannabis Industry Association or Marijuana Industry Group or Council for Responsible Cannabis Regulation, CRCR, we were creating these consumer education programs, go low, go slow, first time 5, if you will, 5 milligrams. What we didn't want to have you as visitors experience was what we call the Maureen Dowd experience. Many of you are familiar with that New York Times editorial, which really set the industry back. And I think it wasn't as scandalous as she may have presented, but the medical marijuana patient has a much larger appetite for higher dose products, whereas the adult use consumer is starting to consume or embrace cannabis in what we would describe in a very, very responsible way, not too dissimilar that you would maybe a Coors Light for happy hour or a bottle of wine in your own house. And so I think that's very, very interesting, very telling for us as a manufacturer, that as this industry grows, not only locally here in the state of Colorado, but domestically, nationally, as many, many more states likely legalize marijuana for, again, whether it be medical marijuana or adult use. And so I'm sure I'll have a chance to comment on that a little bit more as we continue through the panel discussion.